Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel for another glorious Friday the 13th. I'm still committed to getting myself through every movie in the franchise, one Friday the 13th at a time. And today, being the 5th Friday the 13th since I started, I get the awkward privilege of reviewing the Jason movie without Jason. Friday the 13th Part 5. A New Beginning. Of all the Fridays, I gotta admit, this is the one I end up avoiding the most. Now, it's not because I think it's the worst, quite the opposite. I actually think this is one of the more entertaining movies of the franchise.
Say it like you mean it!
Well, I know what you're thinking. If it's so good, why don't I watch it more often? Well, I'm willing to say it's not for the reason you might be thinking. So stick around while I share my thoughts on what I like and don't like about this unique entry in the franchise. Now, I'm going to assume that everyone here has already watched it, so I won't go into too much detail on the plot. But I will give a quick recap just in case you haven't watched it in a while. It's the paramedic. He pretends to be Jason and takes revenge on everyone for his son being murdered while annoyingly eating a candy bar. I just realized this was knocked over the whole time. Every time I put this movie in, what I look forward to the most are the characters. Now, there's so many outrageous characters here, it's hard for me to even know where to start. So it might as well begin with the movie's first victim.
If that's who you feel, forget it.
I'm always impressed by how persistent this guy is. Nobody likes him or wants him around, but that doesn't stop him from being so friendly.
Joey! Will you just get out of here?
I'm sorry, you two. Really, I can do laundry great.
This dude is just so silly and fun, and I'm always left wanting more from him, and I really wish he wasn't killed off so soon. There's that goth girl who, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about. All I know is that whenever I see her, I'm just waiting for her to start. There's Reggie. Now, I don't think he's a troubled teen like everybody else at the halfway house. I think he's only there because his grandpa is the chef.
Do me a favor. Don't kiss me when there's people around, okay?
Honestly, it doesn't matter because he fits in so well. Despite his age, this kid has enough confidence and attitude to hold his own with everybody else.
Hello, beautiful.
I love how he just declares Pam as his girlfriend and nobody bats an eye.
This is my friend Pam.
Hi.
She's my girlfriend.
Tommy in Part 4 was the first time that we had a kid involved with the franchise. And having an innocent character like that really heightens the suspense in ways that you really can't do with a bunch of older teens preoccupied with sex and drugs. Well, Reggie was Part 5's attempt at doing the same thing. And I really commend the writers for not just throwing in some cookie-cutter kid. Reggie has such a strong and likable personality. He really is one of the best characters of the franchise. And we can't talk about Reggie without talking about his older brother, Demon.
Them damn enchiladas!
Even though he's only in the movie for a few minutes, he makes such a huge impression. First of all, his genuine affection for his younger brother is very heartwarming.
God, it's good to see you, dude. Damn, you look good.
Especially considering this is Part 5 of a horror franchise. It always surprises me how heartfelt this guy is.
Hey, you heading to dinner? Yeah, have enchilada.
But let's not kid ourselves. Demon's real shining moment is in that porta potty.
Ooh, baby, ooh, baby.
Those greasers that came right from the 1950s? Lana's sleazy boyfriend who's easily twice her age?
Lana! Hey! Hey!
This movie pumps in so many over-the-top characters. It feels like you're watching a cartoon. And no one makes us feel more like a cartoon than my favorite duo, Ethel and Junior. It blows my mind that characters like these actually made it into a theatrically released film. These two are absolute bananas, and I love everything about them. I love how much Ethel hates her giant baby Huey of a son.
You big dildo. Eat your slap.
I love that she's always making stew, and her stew is just a bunch of vegetables that she's splashing into a giant pot of plain water. I think these two deserve their own spin-off. Because let me tell you, The Adventures of Ethel and Junior would absolutely have a place in my movie collection. When it comes to what makes this movie so memorable to me, it really is the campy nature of just about the entire cast. I don't think any of this was bad acting. I think everyone involved here was just aware and honest about what movie they were in. Nobody took what they were doing seriously. No one was trying to win an Oscar. And this extends beyond the actors. Everyone involved with this movie was just there to have a good time. And it shows. Like, whose idea was it to have Tommy also be a pro wrestler? And who not only had the idea, but the guts to actually smear chocolate all over this guy's face. It's decisions like these that make this movie so unforgettable. And every time I watch it, I find something new to laugh at. This most recent time, it was the cat jumping into frame. I mean, how hard is it to get a cat to jump? It's been done hundreds of times. It's probably the most overused jump scare. But here, some dude sitting out of frame thought it was a good idea to just throw the cat face first into the booth. Now, this one gets me every time. When Reggie is going to visit his brother, it's just a short drive across town. Nothing too spooky or out of the ordinary. Yeah, this is the music they used. Now, this wouldn't be a proper review of Friday the 13th Part 5 if I didn't address the elephant in the room. About that whole no Jason thing. Is that it? Is that the reason I avoid Part 5? Well, the answer, believe it or not, is no. Now, I admit, watching a Friday movie without Jason is like ordering a pizza with no cheese. Sure, it's okay, but something's missing. On one hand, having no Jason meant that they can return to the original's whodunit formula. And honestly, they do a much better job at it this time. There's genuine red herrings and some clever misdirection. And unlike the original, the murderer actually makes an appearance before the big reveal. However, all of these attempts to mislead the audience would have been completely lost on everyone back in 1985 because, let's face it, nobody thought Jason was dead. I mean, this guy had already survived drowning, a machete through the shoulder, an axe to the head. So trying to convince people that a machete to the head would do the trick was a bit of a stretch. But nevertheless, I still appreciate this movie for its courage to leave Jason out. It makes for a unique entry in the franchise, and little one-offs like these make the occasional marathon a lot more fun. Especially when you're watching them with people who are new to the series, because little curveballs like these keeps them guessing for the rest of the series. So if it isn't the lack of Jason, what is it about Part 5 that keeps me away? The short answer is the censorship. I can't believe how much of this movie was left on the cutting room floor. The kill scenes are so watered down. They feel like they were edited for TV. Which is absolutely absurd considering the other content that they deemed acceptable.
Would you shut up?
No problem with nudity. Oh yeah, and not just the ladies. Take a look at this guy. And the gratuitous drug use, even far beyond just smoking a joint.
And snow flurries up your nose.
I can't believe that they thought this was okay. But when it comes to the kills, which is what we came for, they're so heavily edited that it's hard to figure out what's even going on. I mean, did you even know that when Jason, or Roy, is hanging off the side of the barn, they knock him down by chopping off his arm? I didn't. I always thought Tommy hit him in the head and knocked him out. But either way, you can't tell because they don't show you anything. So many of the kills are cut short, and that's assuming they were filmed at all. Most of them take place off screen, and it's just a waste of everybody's effort. And this is too bad because there's actually a lot of kills in this movie. One kill in particular that, if it wasn't for the editing, I think would be one of the best in the franchise. This is so imaginative, and it had the potential to be epic. But what we're left with is so boring, and even the extended cut leaves a lot to be desired. Altogether, Friday the 13th Part 5 has a lot to offer, especially with its incredible cast of characters, who are all played by actors that completely embrace the campy nature of this film. Even the bold decision to leave Jason out, I view as a net positive. It makes for a refreshing spin on an old formula, and also it lets us take a deeper look at what else is lurking out there at Crystal Lake. Ultimately, though, it's the censorship that really holds this movie back. Sure, without Jason, one can argue that Part 5 was doomed from the start, but I argue that it's the kills that fans are ultimately craving.
Hey!
And in the case of Part 5, we didn't get either one.
Ain't I make the best goddamn stew in the whole wide world?
Best goddamn stew in the whole wide world, man.
That's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name's Kenny, and those are my thoughts. Go ahead and leave yours in the comments below. Just be nice down there. The Adventures of Ethel and Junior. Now there's a movie that I want to watch.
Too bad about Kenny, huh? Life in the big city.